What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros 3 p.m. live show. We have got a doozy of a show lined up for you guys today. We have some great news, and that is JP Morgan believes that we are going to see Grayscale and GBTC's selling pressure come to an end. And we got to celebrate that for about a whole whopping 5 minutes before we hear that the U.S. government now is thinking about selling their Bitcoin on the Silk Road. So, it was a good 5 minutes. It was very pleasurable. We're going to dive into the details of that today. It's funny because in my conversations with T-Shirt before the show, when we saw the news about Grayscale, my first thought was literally, this is just end to one bearish sentiment. They're going to create something new. And then again, of course, 5 minutes later, we get our something new. Would have been more ironic if we had seen it happening during the live show, but, not all things are perfect. Like this show is, though, the most perfect crypto show in all the world. And that is because it's not just me, the guy on the left. We're also joined by the co-host, Mr. T. Shroom from down in Gainesville, Florida. T. Shroom, how are you feeling today?
I was feeling really great, Tim.
Yeah.
But even though I've come down in my feelings, I'm still feeling better than I deserve. So I'm still on a perfect record with that. And it shouldn't surprise you, especially to my OG bros out there. Got to give you some love. I've got a quote of the day. Some people might find controversial, Tim. I do, and we're going to get to it. It is from none other than your aunt, Elizabeth Warren, Tim. It says, She said, "It's a simple idea. We all do better when we work together and invest in our future." Huge fans of Elizabeth Warren. She's never hurt a fly. She's never done anything I've ever disagreed with. She's great.
One of the strongest crypto allies in the world right now, Elizabeth Warren is. Love the quote. Simple idea. It was better when we worked together. Here's the thing. We're being a little facetious here, but that's actually a good quote. I actually completely agree with it. I do think there are people that really apply themselves and work really hard. However, like most people, you don't accomplish success in this world without the help of some. There are people who have done a lot more with a lot less help, but ultimately, to succeed, we have to band together. And that's, maybe I would like to think, T-Shirt, that Elizabeth Warren, my Auntie Beth, would be a bro. She just hasn't found us yet. But that's kind of our mantra here. We're in this together. We're not just in here single, just trying to make trades and everything by ourselves. We're out here to build a community, to build wealth together. And I think that's Elizabeth Warren's problem. She hasn't found the Investing Bros channel yet, so she's anti-crypto. And the minute she becomes a bro, things are going to change. Things are going to change for sure.
Yeah, it's true. In the meantime, she's going to continue to do her thing, being Elizabeth, rocking it out. And that's okay. She's got it going on, and we're going to keep on taking it and until she finally gives
up. She straightens up is really what we're going down for. Yeah, well, let's do this, T-Shirt. Before we jump into some of this hearty news, let's take a look at what's happening in the markets briefly here. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart, kind of giving us some stuff going on here. Now, Bitcoin kind of wrestling with a resistance level. If I were to go out and kind of zoom out here, let's take the oscillators down for just a second. We've talked about the significance of this blue dotted line. It actually has relevance that goes all the way back to 2017, way back here. We broke it as support here more recently on the 4-hour chart. We are wrestling with it as resistance. So if the bulls want to see some higher and greener pastures, we're going to need to see that level get recaptured. The other thing we're wrestling with, of course, remember that strong support level here around 40,000 that we talked about last week. Well, it was broken, and after touching the next level of support perfectly down here at 38.5, we've bounced back up, and we're using this zone as resistance. We do want to see that change. Now, if you are a member in the Investing Bros Discord, and you have been over there looking at some trades we're doing, we've been killing it over there. A to Ace out here, just win after win after win. Bedridden killing it as well. I have a couple winners here on Chainlink. We've been doing some good trades here. I'm in a long at the moment as we speak. This was something I was showing T. Shroom earlier, so I got to get rid of these green lines. How high can we get, though? I have my eyes set when we start to look here. We'll do some more in-depth TA a little bit later on here, but let's come all the way down here to the 15-minute chart. I got my eyes set up here at about 14.10. That's about the top of that take profit. On the hourly, you're going to get us up into an order block here. Also, we got high block capital. Is this Chainlink? It is Chainlink. We got some yellow liquidations coming in right around that level. The highest one's coming in right around that 14.10. But if you guys want to trade, A, you got to use Blofin. Use the link down below. But B, you got to get in that trading group. There's so many great minds. It's not like I can trade every coin at all times. Nobody can. But if you're looking to get a little bit of tip into a little bit of your toes wet in the game of trading, you need an exchange. That's Blofin. You need a group. That's Investing Bros. Come join that trading group. We're doing some great things here. Overwhelmingly, the market's volatile today. Very volatile today. We've told you guys get ready for volatility. I do think there still is some support coming back over here to Bitcoin. Everything follows Bitcoin. I still think there's some support and reasons to see further upside coming. We'll dive a little bit deeper into that later on the show, but we've been covering Bitcoin pretty well over the last couple of days. We're just in a boring phase right now. Later on, we're definitely saving some time today to do some Q&A of some of your favorite altcoins, so stick around for that action. But right now, bearish trend, but dead cat bounce still in play, and I don't think the dead cat is done with its bounce. I think that dead cat is mid-bounce. It's kind of hovering, and there's going to be a little more of a boost that's going to kick it up a little bit higher. Keep your eyes. These hourly charts kind of giving us resistance here on 41. I think there's a decent chance as you look at longer time frames. We're coming out here closer up here towards 43, but 42.7, 42.8 looks like a good area for me, but I'm getting a little bit too into the weeds here. This is just the market open. T-Shroom, I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to you so we can get into the news that is affecting all of this price action. What is popping today on the news front?
Yeah, Tim, we're going to get into it here in just a second. This news is brought to you by Luxago. Definitely go check that link out in the description. U.S. government to sell 130 million worth of Bitcoin from the Silk Road. Now, it was only a matter of time, Tim. I was literally on a Spaces last night with Rob from Sin City, and we were talking about FUD, and we were talking about the recent Mt. Gox headline that came out. And I was like, it won't be long before we hear the Silk Road back in the news. Well, Tim, you speak of the devil, and he shall appear. There it is. And here's the official forfeiture letter here from the government, the forfeiture.gov, U.S. Department of Justice. Some think it's the Department of Injustice. But this is hot off the press, and the part that mattered to me when I was kind of reading over it is this part here. The United States hereby gives notice of its intent to dispose of the forfeited property in such manner as the United States Attorney General may direct. That's good English right there. That's good.
No, they are very professional with their manipulation.
That's some good speaking words, Tim. Any person other than the defendant in this case claiming interest in the forfeited property must file an ancillary petition within 60 days of the first date of publication. So there is an opportunity there for maybe some savvy attorneys to try to get in and pause this and put a stop on it. Not a final stop. But of course, I'm not going to sit here and try to interpret every little bit of this legalese. But as we go back into the story here, you can see a little more of the details that may be a little bit more relevant to us. The notice for the implementing sale of the assets follows a court-approved forfeiture of 69,000 Bitcoin in the Silk Road case. Little irony.
Wow, that's a little immature of the government to choose that.
Right. The initial judgment was made in August of last year, but was finally cleared to take effect in December, according to the subsequent court filing. And then we got the tweet here from Watcher.Guru, which means it's Facebook official. So Tim, overall here, this is FUD, but similar to the Mt. Gox story, it's not FUD that you can ignore. It is real.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the level of FUD first of all. I think Eric Wallen even put it in, and he's absolutely right in chat. It's not a lot of money. 130 million. I don't want to make it sound like it's nothing. I would love to be liquidating 130 million dollars of Bitcoin because that would mean I had 130 million dollars of Bitcoin. In fact, I wouldn't liquidate it because I'd wait for it higher. But you get my gist here. I'd love to have 130 million dollars. If you guys ever find some, please send it my way. I'm accepting all gifts.
Will do.
But in the grand scheme of Bitcoin price, $130 million is not that much in Bitcoin. It's more of the story. And again, there's going to be people that read this in a negative way and think that this is really bearish. And even if it affects price to the downside, which to be fair, it should affect price to the downside if no one buys it up quickly, about 1.6%. Like, I mean, that would drop the price by itself of Bitcoin about 1.6%, because $90 million being moved in Bitcoin moves at about 1. So, we're looking at one somewhere in the middle, like 1.5, 1.6. I'm not the mathematician to do quick math in my head. But my point here is the timing of it is pretty ironic. Again, right as we're seeing maybe potentially, at least according to JP Morgan, I think you're going to run into the story here next. JP Morgan out here saying we're probably done with the Grayscale sell-off, which, by the way, I have more thoughts on that. I don't know if that's necessarily true. But the minute you get a little bit of hopium and maybe you're going to cause some retail investors to come in and start buying, now you slap them with another piece of FUD. Overall, though, it's bullish because guess what? As we just talked about the other day, there's monkeys on the back of Bitcoin. There's all these FUD stories hanging over us. Oh, we could be selling Mt. Gox. Oh, Grayscale can sell off all of their stuff. Oh, the government can sell off all the stuff from the Silk Road. Well, go ahead and do it. Just get it over with. Sell it all off. Let me buy cheaper Bitcoin, and then let's ride this coin to the moon because all the monkeys are gone. Yes. That's why I love this story. But let's dive into the second story because we're going to get a little bit more information here from JP Morgan, who we all know, just like Auntie Beth, Elizabeth Warren, completely reliable for crypto information. Everything they say is 100% accurate, truthful, and helpful to retail investors. What are they saying today, T-Shim?
Absolutely. Yeah. So JP Morgan jumping in here, this was the optimistic news. JP Morgan, they do, for what they are, they do have analysts over there who are getting paid. And so we have to assume that some of the data they're putting out is somewhat accurate. Let's get into it here. Well, the headline, can't get without that. Grayscale's GBTC profit taking likely over. Okay. Easing Bitcoin selling pressure. All right. Okay. And JP Morgan. All right. So there you have it. Let's get into the details. The bank notes that Bitcoin has dropped over 20% in the last 2 weeks following the launch of Spot Bitcoin Exchange Traded Fund, ETF, in the U.S., and said profit-taking in GBTC by investors who had bought the fund at discount was a main driver behind the correction. Okay, so kind of setting the scene. These are things we know. If you're tuning in for the first time, that's helpful to get a little bit of background. You're welcome. Mm-hmm. JP Morgan had previously estimated an outflow of around $3 billion from the GBTC due to profit-taking from the discount to net asset value. That is an insider kind of finance acronym, NAV, right? These flows are significant as when investors take profits on this trade, money leaves the crypto market, putting downward pressure on Bitcoin's price. Now we'll get to the goodies. Given $4.3 billion has come out already from GBTC, we conclude that GBTC profit taking has largely happened already. There's the smoking gun for this article, right? Analyst led by, I've seen this name before, Nicolas Panegyritsoglu. Goodness gracious. Adding that this would imply that most of the downward pressure on Bitcoin from that channel should be largely behind us. So that is the quick and dirty on that one, Tim. And that is a sigh of relief, right? Because we've been saying, I've been saying at least for a few days now, for almost 2 weeks, really, is like, what the heck? This GBTC story kind of came out of nowhere. Why are they allowed to have this fee? Why is the fee still 1.5, right? But ultimately, we can't do anything about that. We can't really know the truth behind what was motivating that heightened fee and how that has wreaked havoc on Bitcoin's price. Who was behind that? We may never know, right? But the important part is we always knew it was going to come to an end, and it looks like it is coming to an end. We have another tweet here from Eric.
Well, hold on. Well, real quick before we just assume it's coming to an end, let's break down some stuff here just to help people understand what's going on. So we got JP Morgan, like I said facetiously, the most trusted name and voice in all of crypto investing opinions, incentivized, or at least by the mouth of their owner, they do not like Bitcoin. They want to see it crash and burn and don't like it. It goes against everything they stand for in the traditional banking system. They don't like it. Giving an opinion about a bearish situation, which, by the way, Grayscale still has a lot of Bitcoin left. Even though we've had a lot sold off, Grayscale and GBTC, there's still a lot there with an extremely high fee for putting it in and putting it out there. Even if it's true that they're done, the fact that JP Morgan is saying it, a company that is infamously known for misdirecting retail investors to make them feel like, what does this announcement say to you? If the price has been moving downwards and bearish because of Grayscale sell-off, JP Morgan coming out and saying that it's probably done, you would assume that that's bullish, right? Well, then you remember JP Morgan has a classic misdirection type of storytelling. I just want to, again, is there a potential chance that the selling is done? Yes, there is. Is there a potential chance that that bounce at 38.5 was the bottom? There's a chance there. But the likelihood is just not likely. I don't believe the whales and institutions that know the wealth that can be built in this bull market, I don't think that they've been satisfied with the dips that they can buy Bitcoin at. Remember, not a lot of them got in. Even like the likes of BlackRock and Fidelity and like ARK Invest was in a long time ago. They've been Bitcoin holders for a long time. But a lot of these newcomers didn't start actually filling their bags with Bitcoin until we had made it well into the $30,000 range. For them to be able to pull it back down towards 30,000 or potentially maybe even a little lower, down towards where this whole run kind of started, 28, 27, and fill their bags, it makes sense that they would want to do it. And the way they end up doing that is by providing and presenting misinformation in the media to make you retail investors buy tops so they can sell those tops, and then they'll get you to sell the bottoms so they can go buy those bottoms, and then they acquire all the price. So I just want the record to show, in my opinion, T-Shirt, and I wonder what you have, and I know you have more stories to get into. In my opinion, you should not be listening to JP Morgan's advice about where they think things are going to be going. In fact, I lean more towards if they think that things are about to go up to the upside, I'm a little more bearish. Now, I'm short-term bullish. I do think price could go a little more up. But if you're thinking that the price bottom is in for this pullback because JP Morgan is implying so, you're going to need to present some stronger bullish evidence to convince me at the least, but I think many others who have been investing for a while, to be bullish as well. What are your thoughts?
So Tim, here's the way that I think about it. I get what you're saying. I definitely do. JP Morgan is not somebody that I trust. However, I think there are many JP Morgans, right? And I think that there's the Jamie Dimon, right, that definitely represents JP Morgan at some level. But then you have, the guy who's the analyst here, right? I'm more compelled to believe that Nicolas, right, is more trying to just do a good job of representing the data. And before you put in your comment here, I was about to go over a tweet from Eric Balkanis. Eric Balkanis, more trustworthy, would you say?
Yes, and who's gotten some calls wrong here recently.
Right, and he's over at Bloomberg, so he's still very much Wall Street. But he says, and this was from this morning, no, this was from yesterday, last night, GBTC outflows today are only 425 million, lowest bleed since day one, and seemingly trending down. That said, it's a pretty large number, right? Source Bloomberg Terminal. So the data is just being reported. Now, to the extent that I do agree with you, Tim, is that the timing of because JP Morgan could have commented on the deceleration of the bleeding of GBTC yesterday, the day before, or the day before that. They could have made a comment. They've waited until now, right? So the timing is still potentially manipulative. But I do tend to read this as just a data print, and I don't feel like there's a huge steering of the ship here from JP Morgan, in my opinion. Right, I also feel like we are kind of bottoming on Bitcoin. I know that's controversial, but I do feel that, kind of looking at the charts here, I think that we're making a move higher here. I think it's going to take another story. The Mt. Gox story did not push us down further, right? This was the candlestick from the Mt. Gox story, and this was too, right? However, today
wasn't the story that Mt. Gox had sold?
No, that they were going to.
Okay, all right. Well, then I'll be good, and that's going to flow into what I'm about to say in a second. But finish your statement.
And today, now we're basically, if I go down to the 1 hour, we're kind of watching how does the market react to this U.S. selling its Silk Road money, right, Bitcoin, and so far, just looking at today's price action, I wouldn't say that it's reacting very strongly to that. I think that it's probably generous to say that it's a bunch of educated diamond hands that are just not reacting to the FUD. I think what's more likely is that the market is much more interested in what the Fed is going to do, on the 30th and the 31st, and also just not wanting to sell Bitcoin, a fixed supply asset in general, wanting to hold on to that. We go back out to the daily chart just to kind of round out my argument here, Tim. We go out to the daily chart. I've been saying for a while that we can't, we weren't going to be able to get a candle close below 41,002. Well, and that's because there's so many buyers here eager to gobble it up. Well, those buyers finally got exhausted, but there's a whole new batch of buyers down here, and they're incentivized heavily to buy Bitcoin below $40,000. Right. So that's kind of my argument. I'm obviously taking a bull biased position here, but that's the kind of way that I'm reading it. And this GBTC headline, it's resolving the biggest story in Bitcoin right now, which is that GBTC bleed. It does seem to be resolving that, especially if we get 1 or 2 more days of continued deceleration of that GBTC bleed. That's going to kick us into the Fed news cycle, and I think that Fed news cycle is going to be pretty bullish.
All right, let me address some things that we just said here. First of all, there's been some stories looming over us. We have some people selling, and the fact they haven't sold yet is part of my going to be part of my argument I make here. Also, this news of Grayscale slowing down their selling. Well, let's talk about that for just a second. Let's go to my screen here. I'm going to turn off my fixed range volume profile here. They especially started selling right in here. I'm not going to be surprised if there were some sell-offs back in here, but ultimately they sold a lot right here. They sold a lot right here. They sold a lot right here. We actually even dipped down below a level. They're slowing down their selling, T-shirt. What does that communicate? It could mean that they're almost done, but in reality, when you look at their holdings, they have not even sold half. They still have a large amount of holding.
Oh yeah.
And the advantage of keeping it there is not very strong. I'm not saying they're going to sell it all the way to zero. I'm just saying the advantage of keeping Bitcoin into GBTC when you have such cheaper and better use cases for it on an ETF or other places, not a lot of incentive to keep it there. Could it be that the selling is slowing down because the price dropped a little too low? And they know that the price can get shot back up to these levels. Like, for example, when I'm looking at this whole range we've been in at this top, the point of control is all the way back up here at 42.7. The value area high could be all the way back up here towards 45. I've seen a lot of analysts kind of pointing this out. I think it's something to keep your eyes on. That's why I have that purple dotted line up there. I think there's an outside chance. I like 42.7 as the top for this whole dead cat bounce, but I could see a $44,800, $45,000 price come in. Why is that? And that is because of something that we don't talk about enough here. These phases can come up with a lot of confusion. But you know what I think this phase is, T-Shim? I think this is the distribution phase. And distribution phases can look Distribution phases, you get to the top and you start to range. This is called distributing. They take their profit, they send the price down. They convince everyone we're good to go. They let price go back up. They take their profit. They send price down. They bring it back up. They take their profit. This doesn't mean the market's overwhelmingly bullish. It's, hey, if we can take profit up at 45,000, why take profit at 39,000? If we can pop the price back up here, let's wait. Let's pop the price back up. Let's do some bullishness in the news. Let's get back to these higher prices and distribute out this Bitcoin so that when the price is right, then we can let the bottom fall out. This moves us down to the downside. And ultimately, if I move over here, what we're looking for is an overwhelming trend where we get overbought, we sell off, we come back down, we bring it down until we come into an accumulation area. We just bounce between accumulation, distribution, accumulation, distribution. And ultimately, we keep moving up and to the right. Well, zooming out here on Bitcoin, guys, that's what we have been doing for a long time. Come up here, distribution, accumulation, distribution, accumulation, very quick distribution. Then we come down here, we accumulate, we round off, we move sideways. This was a little bit of a middle point, so that happens from time to time in Wyckoff. But ultimately, right now, I believe we're in a distribution phase. I do believe they're trying to take profit. The price dropped a little bit too low. They're going to backtest, and if we get a pop back up here, this is just another great excuse to go ahead and sell. Now, we're saying all this. The price is still, moving to the downside. We're still setting lower highs and lower lows here, so we're in a bearish trend. I'm talking about breaking this short-term bearish trend, popping back up to do a classic distribution. The price gets back up. They can take more profit. That means they have more tether or dollar on hand, which as much as we hate the dollar, in a season where Bitcoin's going down, you want to hold the dollar. And now they can distribute the price back to where they really want it, back to where we had our last little kind of middle point. They can bring the price back down. Come on, marker, click for me here. They can get themselves a great or possibly amazing buy and then accumulate and start to move their way up. That's beautiful price action right there, by the way. That's not really how that would work. It would come down here and do some choppiness and then make our moves to the upside like this. This is the classic movements of the markets. Yes, it's overwhelmingly going to be up and to the right. But right now, in a distribution phase, if you would be courageous enough to call it that like I am doing, I can't guarantee it. That's what I think. Distribution phases do not come with a straight push down. They come with sideways volatility where they're selling tops, the whales, they sell the tops. They might even sometimes buy these little bottoms, but then they just sell the tops, and it's a trading zone that they can then dump the price ultimately after confusing the retail investor, get the retail investor to buy this next top thinking we're going up to the up and the right. Now they dump the price down, and hopefully they scare you enough to where you capitulate and sell it back to them down here at lower levels. That's what we see playing out, and the news that I'm seeing is that same boat. This threats of selling, but then they're not doing it. Oh, okay, we're good, guys. We're good to go. Well, if I had reason to believe that price was coming out here and I want to sell, like I'm Mt. Gox or I'm U.S. government, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for this pullback, and I'm going to sell here, and then I'm going to be able to push the price back down. So just because these news articles are coming out, and yet the price is hesitating, and we have a short-term bottoming out position right here, is not overwhelmingly convincing to me that the bottom is in here for Bitcoin, because this is a classic strategy by institutions and whale investors. And that's the accumulation phase. It's the exact opposite. This is a classic rounding off top so that they can buy at lower levels. We follow this psychologically. Again, this is the perfect opportunity, possibly the last amazing opportunity to buy Bitcoin before prices get so crazy it's going to be very hard to own a whole Bitcoin. This is the perfect time to have one last amazing distribution at low levels, buy that $30,000 Bitcoin and send it to the moon, never to be seen from again by low prices, by 5 digits.
Yeah. Tim, I love it. Look, I think that is as compelling of a case. I just, I think I'm going to stick to my guns on this one. And I love the comment here from Gustavo.
Of course you do.
Gustavo said, I think he meant to say, I've been on Tim's camp all this time, but T-Shroom's argument is more convincing.
Here's what I'll say. I actually love this, Gustavo. And I hope people aren't taking this wrong way. I feel more confident in my calls the more people agree with me. Like the more times I hear Tim, I agree with you. Tim, you're right. I'm like, crap, I probably am wrong, because I'm a contrarian. I like being a contrarian. So I love when people disagree with me and think that I'm completely wrong. It makes me feel a little more confident in my take. But we'll have to see. We'll have to wait for the next couple of days. I am very short-term bullish right now. Again, pop up to 42.7, 45. I think that range is definitely something that we could get back to. But I am not convinced that we have seen the end of the low 30,000s for Bitcoin price.
Now, what I will say, Tim, is I may not be actually putting my money where my mouth is, because I still have not a lot, but I still have some dry powder on the sideline. So I really haven't, like I said, I haven't put my money where my mouth is. I haven't deployed at these levels, my full deployment. Now, what I'll say is I don't feel bad about that. If we take off and we launch, I am adequately exposed. I would say.
Yeah.
I would miss out on some gains potentially, but there'll be dips. There'll be more pullbacks.
To be fair, this is a good take right there, T-Shroom, because I want people to know Tim being bearish does not mean I just sold all my Bitcoin and all my altcoins and I'm waiting for lower dips. I have my HODL bags ready to go. I am hoping to add to them to get an increased good exposure to low level prices. I am not taking profit. I'm in a couple short scalp longs right now, but I don't have any long-term trades open to the upside. And I haven't yet set my long-term, not long-term, but intermediate-term shorts. I will set a short on Bitcoin if I see 45,000. I borderline, based off what I see on the charts, might set a short when I get to 42.7. If we don't get those, then I'm just not going to ride the wave down on my trading. But I'm not sitting here selling and taking profit. I'm sitting here looking and saying, I'm looking for my next places to put more Bitcoin in. And if I'm wrong, then I'll just add to my bags up at 50,000, 55,000. And I don't want to do that, but I will, because 55,000 will still be a good buy compared to 200,000. I just am going to continue to hold some dollars on the side just in case, and more than likely when we see $30,000 again.
For sure. Okay, Dave Digital has said, watch the weekly RSI. That's not something I have ready to pull up. Could you pull that up, Tim?
We can absolutely do it. Let's do it. I have my marker on, so I'm gotta clean some stuff up here. I accidentally drew on my chart, and it was Very unprofessional. All right, let's pull up the RSI. Let's pull down this oscillator here. All right, so what we have going on, RSI has been flashing massively overbought. We've come down away from it, but RSI very, very high. One thing I will say, RSI pulling back here, but something I've been studying on the RSI, we can pull back a long way. And ultimately, I think this weekly chart will stay bullish because, again, I think we'll stay away from setting lows at 25,000. I think, again, 28,000 potential. I think the low is going to come in here somewhere in the $30,000 range. That's still a higher low as a bullish trend. But what you're really freaking out here, you shouldn't really freak out until RSI on the weekly chart drops below the 50. Ultimately, the RSI is a momentum indicator that you can look for divergences. You can see overbought, oversold, but ultimately it's very common to get overbought, come back down to the 50 line, get a quick bounce, and then explode again. It's like a reloading phase. I wouldn't freak out on the weekly chart until you see a below 50 on the RSI, which, by the way, let's take a look at 2019. Did we get that happening over here? We did. We got overextended over here. If this is a similar situation, we pulled back down and dropped below, even though we pulled back above it briefly, just getting below that 50. We lost the bullish momentum. We kept pulling back. Don't count COVID. We wouldn't have gotten overextended and crazy oversold, but we would have been below that 50 when we finally bottomed out and then moved back to the upside. But that's kind of the confirmation we're looking for there. So if you have anything specific, Dave Digital, you want to look at, let us know. The daily chart, we're definitely below. And some people are going to say, oh, Tim, we're close on the daily chart to being oversold. And you're right. We could get oversold, but look at it. We're not oversold. We have not crossed below the 30. In fact, what we've done is we crossed below the 50, came back up and hit our heads on the 50. And now as we're moving to the downside, again, what could absolutely happen here is another RSI bounce up to the 50 or even lower. Come on now. But we bounce off the 50 once again with a higher price action than these candle body closes over here. We hit our heads on that level. We turn over, go to the downside. That is called a continuation bearish divergence. I can't know for certain it's going to happen, but that's what I'm kind of keeping my eye on just in case it happens. The daily chart is showing us the bearish momentum is in charge right now, with the 50 being turned into resistance rather than support.
Yep. I like it. All right, I've got two more stories, Tim. We have gone on a very productive tangent. It's very good. We were at risk.
I thought it was good.
I would think we were at risk of getting very close to another stake bet, but I think we've already got another one on the books. Just in case you guys don't know, we currently have a stake bet.
We can only have so many stake bets open at a time.
That's right. And that bet is that I do not think Gary Gensler will be voting on the Ethereum spot ETF. And Tim does. And let us know in the comments. Am I crazy? Is T-Shroom crazy? We'll see. All right. There's a couple of stories here. They're actually pretty optimistic on some altcoins. Ethereum developers set timeline for final Duncan. How do you say that? Dankun testnet upgrades. They always name these things the wildest
stuff.
We'll rock
with it. That seems good enough,
Now, Tim, Dankun is a major upgrade or hard fork planned for the Ethereum blockchain that will enable proto-dank sharding. This is a very big word. You're going to want to know what that means. A technical feature that will decrease the cost of transactions on layer 2s as well as enable cheaper data available on the blockchain. Before it is triggered on the main blockchain, developers will run through a dress rehearsal of the protocol changes on the Sepolia and Holeski test networks on January 30th and February 7th. Okay, so that's when the testnet's going to be going on. If all goes according to plan, the final test for Dankun will occur on Holeski on February 7th at 11:34 uniform time at epoch 950,272. So that's a lot of fun. This is bullish for Ethereum. It's also bullish for the layer 2s. Now there's something in here that is actually very eye-opening, which is this sentence here. A technical feature that will decrease the cost of transactions on layer 2s. So for a while, I've been thinking, hey, is dank sharding going to put the layer 2s out of business? Is Polygon, Arbitrum, Optimism, are those guys going to be, out on the street with nothing to do, with, can't find work because Ethereum solving its own problems. According to this sentence here, while Tim is picking up his cup, no, it's actually going to
No, it wasn't a cup. It was something fell. I don't even know what fell. I don't see it.
Well, it's not the price of Bitcoin. It's holding strong.
I'm stuck on an ice cube. Yeah.
Anyway, I think you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. We'll go ahead and move on to the next story here. Maybe Tim will find something else to drop. Charles Hoskinson, maybe you've heard of him, predicts the unprecedented growth for the Cardano ecosystem in 2024. I've got some juicy details for the Cardano community. 2024, this is Charles speaking. 2024 is going to be a great year for Cardano. 2023 was actually a great year, all things considered, how much progress we made and how many things we thought through and did. This year, we're just getting started. Chronologically and from a productivity standpoint. But Tim, it goes on. Hoskinson further sharing insights from the recently released Electric Capital 2023 Crypto Developer Report showcasing positive trends in Cardano's development. Despite the crypto market-facing fluctuations, the report showcased that Cardano has remained productive with a significant number of developers and repositories contributing to the blockchain's growth. Very good, clean bill of health, although Hoskinson failed to fully agree with the report's figures, such as the mentioned 170 full-time developers, 490 monthly active developers, and 4,796 repositories, and approximately 1 to 3 million commits. He expressed his optimism, stating, "They're moving in the right direction, and the trend lines are also looking really good." Tim, that's where I'm going to leave it with this report on basically, what happened with Cardano in 2023 in Hoskinson's view, and what is happening right now in 2024 and what to look forward to. Tim, does that make you more bullish on Cardano?
Well, I'm pretty bullish on Cardano to begin with. This doesn't surprise me that they're going to continue to be the most developed altcoin. At a certain point, I want to start seeing that translate into more total value locked. I want to see it ultimately translate into price. Being a trader and an investor, that's ultimately what my main care is. But my investment in Cardano long term, despite the fact that it's lower in price than I really think it should, and it's lower in publicity than I really think it should, even though a lot of the community likes it, is that I think eventually the technology will catch up. The hard work and the continuation of being the most developed altcoin month after month after month for years will all compile, and this will become a dramatically underbought coin that those of us who are holding it this low are going to be well rewarded in terms of price action. But here's the thing with Charles Hoskinson, in case you didn't know this, he does not like when you talk about price. In fact, as much as I love Charles Hoskinson, I don't know if he likes me that much because I talk about price of Cardano a lot. He does not care. But that's why I like him. And I like Cardano and I like Charles Hoskinson because a lot of times you do see the companies that don't care about the stock price as much and they just focus on how good the product actually is. The price will follow how good the product is as long as the tokenomics are good. And guess what? Cardano's got good tokenomics.
It does. It has excellent tokenomics, excellent decentralization, leadership like you wouldn't believe. And honestly, it's got one of the most robust, active, teaming, one would even say, teaming communities that I've ever seen. Tim, the biggest argument for my side of the camp is this for Bitcoin's price. Jim Cramer has tweeted out within the last 3 hours, he said, another day, another chance to roll out of Bitcoin while the number go up club tries to keep it at 40,000.
Yeah.
Reverse indicator, bullish.
Okay. And you know what has been really broken is that he's been right the last 3 calls he's made. He's made 3 recent bearish tweets on Bitcoin, and all 3 of those days, like usually the day he says something bearish about Bitcoin, it goes up. And the day he says something positive about Bitcoin, it goes down. He has said bearish things about Bitcoin 3 times in the last couple of weeks, and all 3 of those days are red days. Ultimately, and I put a tweet out about this, and I know it's all a joke, but just in case there's somebody out there who doesn't think it's a joke, the reality of Jim Cramer is he knows nothing about Bitcoin. Broken clocks can be right twice a day. Idiots can be right by accident. Ultimately, please do not take investing or trading advice from Jim Cramer, whether it be affirming what he says or anti what he says. The man knows nothing about Bitcoin. His calls are just oblivious.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, again, like I said, he has been right on his last 3 calls. He has been, if you had listened to him and shorted it, you would have made some money.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm T Shroom, and I'm joined here by Tim Warren, and we are the Investing Bros.
I'm the guy on the left. I'm just
he's
the
guy on the left as well. You should subscribe because we're delivering value like this all day, every day. And at 3 p.m. we go live, but we're constantly tweeting. We're constantly active in the Discord. And someone actually said early on in the stream, Skelly Finn said, "Bro, how I join the group? I'm down." So the way that you do that is you actually go on over to the video that you're watching right now, and you hit the join button right there. That's going to pop up some options. You got the bros level, you got gold, and you got diamond. We strongly recommend, and this is financial advice, we recommend the bros level, okay, and then the gold and diamond level. That just essentially provides us more support for the channel. So we really appreciate that. Obviously, our gold and diamond members do get some extra perks. You guys can kind of scroll through and see what those are. But thank you so much for joining. And hey, if you're not ready to make that commitment to be a member of the channel and gain access to the deeper levels of our community, that's okay. But we would ask you to subscribe because we do feel like we do a really good job. And everybody who's subscribed so far has become filthy rich with wisdom.
That's true. That's very true. And also, you enter to win $100 because every time we hit a new 1,000 subscriber, we give away $100. And I have good news. Well, it's kind of good news. Our last winner never reached out to us. So this next time here in probably the next week or two, when we hit 8,000 subscribers, we will be doing two $100 giveaways. So two of you still have the chance within the next couple of weeks to win $100 here on Investing Bros. T-Shroom, is that all we have for the news today?
It is, Tim.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. Do we have before we kind of move into the charts and get into some Q&A, we've saved ourselves a lot of time today. I've seen some requests. We're going to take a look at Tesla. There were some other coins. You're going to have to drop them in chat again. I'm not going to be able to scroll back up and look at them, but we will take a look at Tesla's chart. If there's some other coins you guys want to see some TI on, we will go through that. But we have to get to our factoid of the day. Let's see if I can win. I think I won yesterday, so let's see if I can go 2 in a row.
Absolutely. Factoid of the day brought to you by Lux Algo. Tim, Elizabeth Warren is a U.S. Senator of which great American state? Is it A, California, B, Massachusetts, C, Texas, or is it D, Vermont?
It would be the good old answer of B, Massachusetts.
You're locking in B?
I'm locking in B.
The answer to today's factoid, brought to you by Lux Algo, is Massachusetts. So Tim, you got it right there, and I'm so proud of you. There she is. Yeah. We can't get enough of Elizabeth Warren here on the Investing Bros. She is indeed the U.S. Senator for Massachusetts, the Freedom State.
The Freedom State.
If you're not from the U.S., Massachusetts is home to this big city of Boston, of which Tim and I were both in together on a road trip.
It was a fun city. It was a fun city. For sure. Well, here's the thing about Elizabeth Warren, and here's what I'll say. T-Shirt, I put out a tweet earlier today. A lot of times we wake up and we just focus on the negative, right?
Right.
We just focus on. We need to start focusing sometimes on the positive. And listen, there's plenty of negative about old Auntie Beth. There's plenty of reasons not to like her.
Yeah.
But there's some positive things about her. Like, for example, T-Shirt, a lot of people are trying to go after her, attack her, hack her. Similar to her best friend, Gary Gensler, he got hacked here a couple weeks ago. The SEC account got hacked, and we had some fake news. But Elizabeth Warren is good at protecting her information. You want to know why she's good at protecting her information, T-Shroom?
Why is that?
Because she has NordVPN.
She's got NordVPN, you say?
She uses NordVPN because she knows that people are out there trying to hack her. They're trying to send her phishing emails, and she says, no. I'm going to protect my information. I'm going to protect my Twitter account. I'm going to protect the good people of Massachusetts. Even if I create laws that will ruin their wealth, I'm going to protect all this information with a good old VPN called NordVPN. And so we need to focus on the positives and be a lot more like Elizabeth Warren when it comes to our computer protection.
That's right.
Sign up with NordVPN today. Get 63% off. Link down below. Thank you for them for being a sponsor. And thank you for protecting Elizabeth Warren, NordVPN.
That's right.
I don't actually know if that's true. I don't know if she has NordVPN. In all honesty, we don't like to lie too much on the channel here. So I do want to make that clear.
Yeah. I'll tell you
we
what.
We neither can confirm or deny if she has NordVPN, but you can get it today.
When you look into those eyes right there, she knows that she's vulnerable. She needs security, and she
Yeah.
turns to the best VPN in the game. Guys, let us know if you have any ideas of how we could help present our sponsors in the best way, because clearly we're hurting. No, we're having fun.
I'll tell you what, guys, right now. Go click on NordVPN link. Just give us some clicks there, and then just go ahead and buy it. And go ahead and buy it, and then you guys will be protected, and you'll have helped the Investing Bros community. And again, as we said yesterday, you might just get a girlfriend.
That's
that
right.
happens sometimes when you buy NordVPN. Girls like protected computer men.
Yeah, and if you're the 0.1% of the folks that watch the Investing Bros that is female, you also, I have been told by NordVPN CEO, that you will get a boyfriend, a very handsome, that kind of looks like Mohamed Salah who plays for, is it Manchester United? Yeah, if I got that wrong, I'm going to get a lot of hate. But yeah, Liverpool. Why did I say Manchester? Liverpool.
I think we have pitched this. We've pitched NordVPN quite well at this point. Go buy NordVPN. Let's take a look at some charts here.
Let's do it.
Let's take a look at old Tesla. Now, I'm going to start off with a glaring, obvious thing that you guys need to be watching out for. And yes, it's staring us down the barrel. I'm going to stop saying what I'm saying because YouTube might not like that. There's a massive gap right in our face here on Tesla. This is the daily chart, and of course, it's right here. Now, as we talked about the other day, guys, we don't go to the wicks. We go to candle body closes. And since this one does have a wick a little higher, we're just going to go ahead and put it to the top of that wick because, again, this day opened. Even though it opened all the way down here, we moved up briefly, and then we've started a blue day, a bearish day. Now, we're going the wrong direction. But we are coming back down to a line. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have not done Tesla in a little while. I don't remember why I had this red line on this chart. But it's holding up pretty nicely.
That's kind of crazy.
Zero idea. Maybe it's because of these support levels back here. That's probably why. Let's take a look. You guys are just sitting here watching me do the TA as it comes to me. Let's take a look at some fixed range volume profile. Is always a fun one. You know what? Actually, Fibonacci. We're going to go Fibonacci first. And I'm going to take a look from the bottom, actually, and go to the top here. You will see we are making a move down here towards our golden pocket. Now, we haven't quite hit that just yet. We're close, though, so could see a little bit further room to the downside. Our gap is sitting right in that 0.5 level, so keep your eyes up here towards 209. Might not be a bad long situation going on here with Tesla to get that bounce back. As you can see, we don't always fill them immediately, but we don't leave these gaps very long. I mean, here's a gap right here. Here's a gap right now. We haven't filled this one. We do have a gap up above us, so reason to be even further bullish. Nice little gap sitting right there, everybody. We did not fill, but gap right here, gap back here, have not filled all the way to this gap either. So we need to go ahead and put that little bad boy right there. So we got some gaps to fill, but again, we do a decent job of filling them here on old Tesla. That's kind of convenient right there. They were in there down to the platinum pocket. Keep your eyes on if Tesla does keep dropping. Love that level right there. Could be very interesting. Let's look at the fixed range volume profile. Someone asked earlier, I think, based off my morning video, which you guys need to go watch the morning video. I made a video about where I'm going to buy AVAX next. Great video. Go watch it as soon as this live stream is over because it is phenomenal. They were asking where I draw, how I choose where to draw my fixed range volume profile from. Great tool. There's a lot of different things you could do. Now, some people like to draw them from potential, like quarterly opens or yearly opens. Some people draw them from a couple different things. Ultimately, I like to draw them from ranges, right? So if this was the bottom, since the bottom back on January 9th-ish, 10th-ish, what has the price looked like? Now, I'm also going to I want to see what happens way back here as well. But ultimately, I want to see, since we bottomed out and started to move to the upside, where have traders liked to trade? Well, hitting our head up here on the point of control here just a little bit ago. Right now, we're below it, but we're sitting right there opening up at the value area low. This is kind of a positive sign here that I do think price is going to move back to the upside. Now, being below this little peak right here, not going to be surprised. Just as I said, we're starting to see some confluence here in this golden pocket. You guys know I love the dips in the volume as our actual reversal points. Guess where that volume gap is sitting very nicely, right in almost the dead smack middle of this golden pocket. So price action of Tesla potentially makes a little bit further to the downside into our golden pocket, gets into that volume, and then we make our move back to the upside. But looking at this again, the majority of the trading has happened as low as 234, as high up here behind the shelf around 263. The point of control sitting here at 256, but a lot of volume in this area. This is actually a positive sign. This to me is actually screaming, T-Shroom, that Tesla is a good buy right now for the long term. There's also, I think CBO's talked about this before. I guess we had a little bit ago. When you see the volume that kind of looks like a P formation, again, this look, all the volume's at the top. So it's like you have this P going on. These are bullish patterns when the price drops down to these lower levels. So again, I'm looking a little bit lower here, but ultimately, I do like what I'm seeing for more bullish action from A, just filling the gap perspective, B, point of control way up high, and then again, this P formation kind of presenting itself with our fixed range volume. Let's take a look at Lux Algo, see what it is saying. Coming back down, we are in a green reversal here on the daily. That is bullish. We have hit under the last strong sell order. This is how good Lux Algo is, guys. Strong sell. If you had seen this, you could have entered your short. We have hit the take profit squarely here, hit our support level, come down. Let's see here. On the daily chart, no order blocks in this area necessarily. I don't think so. So we're not seeing that. There is a big order block down here towards 156. Do not have to fill it, though. A lot more of the order blocks are sitting up above us. So long term, I am looking very bullish. I want to see, though, again, our support line is kind of keeling over here. So I feel good about a bounce, at least to fill this. I will say, keep your eyes when we get back up here on lower time frames. We are in a bearish neo cloud, and let's see on the oscillators. I mean, I don't know, man. The oscillator's screaming overbought too. Look at this, 100% oversold right now. 100% oversold, well below the 30 on the RSI. While the MACD is not yet keeled over on the daily chart, the money flow is rounding off right here. You can see money flow after being very dramatic to the downside is sideways. What I want to see, we've seen a green reversal. Let's get a green momentum dot and money flow going back to the upside. That would be super positive. 4-hour chart, massively oversold. We do see a lot of green reversals coming in here. MACD still bearish, though. So, again, that's why I still feel pretty confident here. Despite the fact that we're oversold, we could go a little bit lower here into the golden pocket. Ultimately, that's what I'm seeing, though. Golden pocket by 174, 175 range for Tesla looks decent to me based off of the charts. Of course, there's fundamental reasons why their price dropped, but charts, that's what we're looking at. What are some other coins you guys want to see with some TA? We got some more time in here. Thank you for that suggestion. I believe that was Eric Wallen who asked to look at that. Great chart. Get to learn a lot about different functions here in technical analysis. See, Indie Rock Crypto said, word, yeah, I don't know because I haven't paid attention to the U of M and the scandals. Oh, we're talking about Michigan now? Okay, there we go. Oh, we're talking to Matt C. We're having some college football talk over here. You guys know Harbaugh is now going to be the coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. Matt C's upset because he likes the Los Angeles Rams, and they might not be the best coach team in LA anymore. Sounds like a little jealousy. Let's see. Let's get some quick crypto conversations, crypto questions going on in here. T-shirt, many coins you saw people shout out?
Nothing that's really coming to mind, to be honest with you.
We got Matic. Matic requested here.
Matic is getting a lot of attention. Of attention.
Well, and you want to know one of the reasons why. Let's turn this off. Let's turn off some noise. I actually talked about this a little bit ago. Now, we're low here. We're getting very low, but Matic is one of the coins that I'm not saying we can't go lower. But everything else, since we bottomed out and then made this move, you're going to see all the points of controls and the value area lows and stuff be lower. Take a look here at Matic. If we go back again to where we started this whole rally, what do we have here? Kind of that thing we were just talking about, a kind of a P formation here with our, come on now, marker. There we go. P formation here. Not the greatest P formation, but P formation of our volume profile here. We are below the value area low. We had the point of control way up here at 85 cents. Value area high up here at 96. I'm not saying we're about to blast off and go to the moon with Matic. Please don't misinterpret what I'm saying is that. What I'm saying is, whereas I still can see, again, on Bitcoin, we're looking at potentially upwards of, even from where we currently are. Oh, my gosh, Tim.
Come on, Tim. Get it together, bud.
Get it together, Tim. There we go. All right. Sometimes it's the worst. All right. I could still see anywhere between a 20 Again, maybe potentially closer to a 30% pullback on Bitcoin, but that's pretty extreme to me. I feel more comfortable with this 20% pullback. When you move to the likes of, like, let's say Cardano, for example, I think we still potentially have the likes of maybe closer towards 30% in the works here. Again, that's going to be interesting, golden pocket, but I'm watching here on these 34% levels. Again, 30% here on the Cardano. I think I made a video here. Solana, we could have a decent size drop on Solana. Bullish on it long term, guys. But we could definitely be pulling back here, at least to this golden pocket, and that would be 40% itself. I don't need to keep going on. My point is, a lot of altcoins have room to the downside. Matic, and again, the reason why is like because of they have a lot of point and controls and stuff down here. The trading has really happened down here. Matic trading has happened up here, and this continues when I kind of pull this out here. Let's even go back to even here. Look, like, even though the value area low drops down here, so if we have some bad price levels, keep an eye on 61. But even with all of this lower price action, we still have the most amount traded all the way up here at 85 cents, and we're well below that. So with that said, what I'm kind of looking at is, of course, you can come in here and use Fibonacci levels to get your marks for what we could be pulling back to. But look at this. Oh, here we go. Another reason to be bullish. Remember, we were talking about on all these other coins. If you're watching my morning videos, we always bring up the golden pocket on pullbacks. Where has Matic just pulled back to? Where has it just bottomed out here? It's bottomed out at the golden pocket. So could we pull back down here to this shelf down towards 66, or maybe even around the platinum pocket at 62? Yeah. Let's see, what kind of a pullback would that be? 15%. Like, that's dramatically low for Matic. And we're talking about less of a pullback than probably what we're going to see on Bitcoin. I am more bullish. No, I'm not bullish long-term like the highs, but I'm saying, like, if you're saying, Tim, if I make a purchase right now, what coin would give me the least amount of losses if I'm right, if I'm wrong about it? Matic. Matic has pulled back dramatically already. I don't see too much more of a pull down on it. And again, there's the question is, like, the only argument to say it will continue to drop 20, 30, 40% is if you believe that Matic is going to probably not be good in this bull market. If you think we're going to have a good bull market, then you probably also agree that the pullback has mostly come into the equation. Matic could be one of the coins, absolutely, that doesn't pull back that much further. In fact, actually separates from the market temporarily and moves to the upside.
Yep. I've actually been showing some folks some things on Matic. I think it was Monday. Man, we are deep into the week now, huh? Back on because I like to go out to the monthly chart, right, and kind of gauge the proximity to the midline of the Bollinger Band. That's something that I like to do. And as you can see here, I'm going to compare this to Chainlink, Solana, Bitcoin, right? So this is Polygon. It is down about 12% from the midline of that Bollinger Band, okay? Mm-hmm. Now let's take a look at ye old Bitcoin, okay? Midline of the Bollinger Band. Let me clean this up a little bit. You can see that this bad boy is 50% to the upside of that midline, okay? And then Solana... This one has been melting faces, okay, and it is, I believe it's like 160% to the upside from the midline, and I'll do one more. I'll do Chainlink, and the point is here is that Polygon is underbought, right? It's oversold, it's underbought. So Chainlink 64 to the upside, kind of similar to Bitcoin. The point is, guys, there's not a real strong bearish fundamental argument for Polygon. I think right now it's just getting overlooked, and it is in my opinion, it's a pretty good buy. It's one that I've been DCAing into quite a bit the last month. So something to think about. It's not that it's not that this is going to go to the moon, more than Caspa or something like that. It's just it's good value. Tim said it really well. If you're looking for something that you have the least amount of risk from a chart standpoint, that's going to be Matic.
Well, we're going to finish up with this last one. We saw a lot of suggestions here, guys. We're going to be doing a lot more Q&A at the end of the show, so make sure you come in every single day for the live show. We're always going to save at least the last 10 minutes, if not last 15, for Q&A and charts just like this. I saw someone ask for SHIB, and I have not done SHIB TA in a while, so let's jump over here, and I've skipped some steps here, went ahead and pulled up both fixed range and the Fibonacci levels. Now, positive, we've pulled back already the golden pocket of this big move. Negative, even when you look at the long term, we're not setting higher highs here on SHIB. When I come in here and look at the fixed range volume profile, we're close to the point of control, but this is not a P formation. Here's what I'll say. I don't think we're going to see a dramatic pullback anymore on SHIB. I don't know if we're going to be losing that much money here. this is not sparking joy for long-term bullish action. And I'll say this, guys. The sheep community and I have not always gotten along. I'm not a big sheep holder. Will not probably hold sheep. I will admit they have transferred from being a meme coin into being something semi-decent. But at the end of the day, do we need sheep to be a functioning coin? I don't think so. I think there's just enough out there. I'm not bullish on it long term. And I'm just telling you guys, look at these charts. Yeah, we could definitely pull back. We have room to pull back down here on the Lux Algo chart. Do we have any? Yeah, we have order blocks out the wazoo still below us. This is not a chart that sparks joy, guys. This is a chart that tells me you might not lose a lot of money, but you're probably not going to gain a lot of money either. My money, I feel like, is well better suited moving into some of these coins that have shown some amazing potential in this pre-halving bull market. Again, Cardano, Solana, Chainlink, AVAX. You move into some lower caps, but they're still big caps. Caspa, TIA, Optimism, Arbitrum. These are going to be so much better long-term than SHIB. So again, similar to Matic, you probably won't lose a lot if you invest in SHIB right now. But unlike Matic and unlike those other coins I just said, you're probably not going to be gaining a lot during this bull market. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. That's all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in with the Investing Bros. Go get Lux Algo. Go get NordVPN and be just like Elizabeth Warren, protected from the hackers.
That's right.
Kid, but do it. And with that said, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Once again, I got my 8:30 live stream, or my 8:30 video, the 9 a.m. live stream, and the 3 p.m. live stream coming your way. You guys have a fantastic day.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.